Hi everyone, my name is Harutiun Hareyan. Today on this channel, we're going to be learning about the basics in world history in 6th grade. Now in 6th grade, you start off learning the basic communities and then you go on to other major events. But it is key to knowing the different societies, communities, and incorporations that people were based off of, such as agrarian, nomadic, and the Indians. These are very fundamental for knowing, and they're like the base for knowing other world history events. But before we get into that, please take a moment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the little notification bell to get daily videos and help and like and support for all the people that help me put this channel together. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're starting off with the Agrarian Societies. Oh, and please feel free to copy this down for your notes, or it's just extra help. It won't hurt. So the Agrarian Societies, right? They were based off of agriculture. Now, what that means is that they didn't really do a lot of textile production or anything. That wasn't even invented back then. But what they did was they solely farmed, and solely everybody had a farm. Everyone had their own farm, or at least a little plot of land in which they farmed on, and that was how they made food for themselves and for other people. They used human and animal labor. Humans, such as, if I'm plowing the field, if I'm a slave or a serf, when I'm plowing the field, and they used animals, like let's say an ox or a cow that's towing the tilling. That is animal and human labor. They were really fond of that. They really liked that. And then another thing that eventually led to their downfall was unhealthy soil. The thing is with farming, if I have a plot of land and I only grow strawberries on that plot of land, over time my strawberries are going to be very bad because they soak up the same nutrients and the soil doesn't have time to replenish the nutrients. Uh, Later on in the medieval times, they were able to, make a system, and we'll learn about that in the future video. Surplus of food. They had plenty of food. Since they were based off of agriculture, all they had was food. Lack of technical advances. Now, notice this was the early days, but I mean, they didn't probably even use the wheel back then. The wheel was invented, but they didn't probably never used it. And because all they had was their basic their basic technology for farming was essentially a piece of log, or like a log of wood with a metal thing on the end, and the ox just pulled it, and that's what tilled their land. But other than that, they didn't have any, say, watering irrigation systems or anything. They had buckets of water, and they poured the water on, and that's how they watered their vegetables and plants and whatnot. And they were socially organized. There was a chief, and then there was like the priests and everything for their gods. And then, because they were polytheistic, because Christianity wasn't even a thing back then. And then they had their, your everyday people, your merchants, and then you had your serfs, and then, you had the kids, which did most of the work back then. Now moving on to nomadic communities, they were also based off of agriculture and animal products. So notice the difference between them. Agrarian societies, they didn't really eat meat or, harvest milk from cows, or get milk from cows, or make butter or cheese or anything. But the nomadic communities did. They had animal products and everything. They were unfixed habitats. That's the definition of nomadic. Nomadic is they always moved around, like migrating, I guess, in some sorts. Maybe periodically, you could say. Maybe in the winter times, I might go south, like birds. Like in the winter time, I might go south where it's warmer, and then in the summer when it gets really hot, I might come up north a bit to have that, balance in climate and temperature. And they also did that for farming as well. If they see that the rains were coming, the raining season, they wouldn't farm there because, the rains would flood and kill their crops. They would go up to the mountains, and then they would, plant their fields. They were organized into tribes. So just like the Native Americans in America, they had tribes, different names, different tribes, different people, different religions. I mean, they were all polytheistic, but they had different, I guess, revelations, or not revelations. They had different conceptions on what the sun god might look like, or what the, I don't know, soil god might look like. And then they used wagons for transportation. So notice they were more technologically advanced than the agrarian societies. They had wagons, they had irrigation systems, they had, better housing, they had tents, they had wagons and everything. And moving on to the nomads of India. Now, the nomads of India, they are the nomadic communities, but they were Indians, which now granted is a bit different because the nomads were of India. They're still nomads to this day. Take that in mind. But they were based off of agriculture and animal products, just like the nomadic communities. Movement was periodically, just like nomadic communities. They were socially organized. Um, but the thing is, later on in Indian history, as India's timeline goes forth and Hinduism becomes one of the main religions in that country, nomads start to adapt that and they take pilgrimages and they take, I guess, long trips. It's like Muslims, how they go to Mecca. It's the same with the Indians, the nomads of India. And that's what they do. And then nomads are still present in India. It's like everywhere you go in India, there are still nomads to this day, and they live freely and happily, and good luck for them, I guess. So thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment. I will be posting questions on the discussion part on my YouTube page. So till next time, I'm Harutiun Hareyan, and stay tuned.